Alright guys, this is my finished hen house and chicken coop that I was showing you in this video right here, which will be linked in the top right corner, of how to build an igloo hen house and chicken coop. So these are my hens that in a very short time are going to be laying eggs for me and my family. And so hopefully in about a month or so we'll have some eggs. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But this is one easy way you can keep food sovereign. If you have a backyard, you might find that in your local jurisdiction it's very easy to get a permit, or you might live in a jurisdiction where there are no permits. Where I live in an agricultural zoning, I don't have to have permits. But just check with your local jurisdiction on that. But getting hens is a great way to provide a stable food source, because chickens will eat just about anything. And they're really easy to care for, and they're not too much trouble. I don't have a rooster. I've definitely heard a lot of people who had issues with roosters. But for egg-laying hens, it should be pretty straightforward. So this is one of several examples. Alright guys, this is my orange tree. Now I understand that not every house or situation has a fully mature orange tree, but I will tell you, if you own a home in a climate that's, at least zone 8B or warmer, you'd be crazy not to plant an orange tree. I have been eating these orange trees that are right above this chicken coop. There's 3 of them right here, and there's another 2. There's another one over there. Let's see if I can zoom in and sharpen it up a little bit. There's another one over there, and I've been eating exclusively oranges from my land for almost a year now. I have never ran out of oranges. I hardly ever water these trees. I certainly don't fertilize them or do anything to them. And I understand that these are, 30-year-old trees, but the principle is pretty much the same, even with smaller trees. I mean, I have a little 3-year-old mandarin, and it produces 50 fruits, and it's tiny. Alright guys, so these are my water tanks. This is a reverse osmosis system that I set up and cobbled together parts online. And having a good supply of water for your crops is very important, especially if you live out west where I do. And this is a UV filtration with RO units. These are two 500 gallon per day units, so I should be able to produce pretty close to 1,000 gallons a day to water my land. And I have a pre-filter back there and two 650 gallon tanks. And the idea behind this is I have very clean water for my avocado grove over there. Let's see if I can sharpen it up a little bit. See over there is my avocado grove. It's a little beat up from the summer. It hit 118 this year. And since avocados are salt sensitive, I set up this RO system to water my trees and my land. So now that I'm using my well water, even though the well water is pretty crappy to be honest, which is really common, I was able to clean it up and polish it, and if I really had to, I have a drinking water source, and that way anything goes down, I have 1,000 gallons of purified RO water. So this is my garden bed. It's kind of a mess. I haven't really weeded it. It's about to freeze here in California, probably within the next month or so. Late December, we usually get a frost, and it's going to wipe out my tomato plants, but that's okay. I've got stuff like quinoa planned. See, quinoa does really well in cooler temperatures in the Southwest. So if you live California, Arizona, New Mexico, parts of Texas, it's nice and cool or cooler in the winter. And so it will give you a pretty good crop. So I'm going to try that out. So stay tuned for some more videos on that. I'm going to show you how my apple trees are doing. I posted a video on me planting these, I'd say about 7 months ago, something like that. Anyway, this is my Honeycrisp apple. It's not real big. It's a long, spindly stick. I do need to do some pruning to it, but I'm kind of waiting for the leaves to fall off. Now I live in zone 9B. I'm not sure how consistent my production will be. A lot of the experienced gardeners will say, well, it's kind of a gamble with apples in warm climates, but they seem to be doing okay. But I am watering them with reverse osmosis water, so that helps. And these are the mature avocados that are already here. Avocados are a little tricky to grow. I will admit that. But these were mature. But I do have a baby one over here, and it's doing pretty good. Believe it or not, this one froze to the ground last year, and it just resprouted. So I don't know what it is. It's probably some kind of avocado that is just growing off the rootstock. Basically, the rootstock isn't necessarily fruit quality, but something good might come out of it. So you wouldn't believe this, but this avocado tree sprouted in late February, and this is how big it is. This sprouted from a seed, and mind you, it froze here right before this thing germinated. But since I've been watering it with reverse osmosis water, and it's growing in a natural shaded canopy, which is how avocado trees naturally grow. There's another baby one over there. They grow in a partially shaded or mostly shaded understory. That's what avocado trees are. They're an understory tree, subtropical tree, that likes deep shade when young. So that one, let me see if I can find another one. Let's take a look. Here's another one from a pit. In fact, if you look there, you can still see part of the pit. And I didn't do anything to these. I haven't fertilized anything. I haven't done anything except water. So I mean, I'm out here in California, but this should show you just how easy it is to grow avocados. So if you live in an area that's at least zone 9, you can grow quite a few avocado varieties. There's a few cold hardy Texas varieties that will grow as cold as zone 8B. There's some more right here. Take a look at that. There's another seedling. Ultimately, these are going to be removed and planted elsewhere. But yeah, guys, this is all possible in your home if you just got a new home, or maybe you want to try it out in pots. Let's go move on and check some other stuff out. All right, guys, and this right here is dwarf mulberry. Mulberries grow pretty easily in most areas of the United States. They really don't need much except for water. I have not fertilized this tree since I planted it. It was 2 inches tall. This is just one season's growth. Mulberry trees are ridiculously fast growing. Let's give you an idea just how tall this thing is. This is a 3.5 foot tall tree, and it was taller before I pruned it. And I'm still not done pruning it, but that should give you a pretty good clue. And that's watering with reverse osmosis, low salt, no chlorine water. As you can see, it causes plants to really just take off like a weed. And mind you, this was through 118 degrees where I lived. We hit an insane heat wave. And up there, I've got my cold hardy Blue Java ice cream bananas. They too were about 3 inches tall. They were tiny little guys. I believe I posted a video last spring showing just how small my plants were. And back there is my coffee plants. So you might be wondering, well, how are you going to protect it from a freeze? Well, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can take bamboo sticks or some kind of stick, and you can stick them into the ground next to your trees, and take a tarp and wrap around it and stick a 5-gallon jug with warm water on cold nights in front of your banana tree. And if you live in a marginal zone that just barely dips below freezing, like where I live, you can keep your plants from freezing. Pretty cool stuff. So this is what I'm doing to try to get my garden in shape. That over there is I believe that's a Gros Michel. It's a variety of banana that used to be a very, very common cultivar prior to 1950. And then over here we have a mature grapefruit tree. Kind of a beat up avocado tree that was already here. And back there is a pomegranate. And this year, when I started watering things correctly, I got hundreds of pomegranates. And I have a couple more orange trees back there, which everybody who lives in zone 8B or warmer should be planting oranges. They are one of the easiest trees to grow. They virtually need nothing. They practically thrive on neglect. In fact, watering them too much and giving them too fertilizer with anything will probably reduce your crops. So yeah, guys, I know I'm not doing a whole lot, but I'm planning to fill this in a little more and, you know, see how things go. There we got avocado trees. This right here is a guava. Just the best tasting fruit ever. I'd never had a guava before I moved here. And most areas are pretty wet. I mean, here in California it's pretty dry, so water's kind of hard to come by. And they're doing so well. I haven't fertilized or done anything. All I've done is trim the grass, really, and watered. When you water with neutral pH water, such as reverse osmosis water, it restores the integrity of the soil. And nature has its way of self-correcting. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. We're so heavily dependent upon fertilizers and chemicals and stuff, and we really don't need that. Nature provides everything we need. So this is what I'm doing. It's kind of small, It's not a lot, but a little can go a long way. I mean, a tree you plant today, you know, the seed you plant today will be the fruit for tomorrow. So if you go buy a grafted fruit tree, in a few years, you'll start producing food. And you can produce crops in your garden bed today. There's avocado trees over there. Here's the avocado tree flowering. Looking pretty good. This is a fuerte avocado. If you've never had one, you wish you did. It's not like the avocados you buy at the store. It's very different. It's a green skinned fruit, and it's just absolutely delicious. I'll show you guys a sample of what it looks like. So I'm not entirely sure if these are fuerte. I'm not an avocado expert, but I'm pretty sure, based on the taste and profile, that these are fuerte. And they certainly are delicious. And they've been a fun experience learning about avocado trees. See, when I moved here, I didn't really know anything about avocados. I had to do all my own research, and it's been a lot of fun. But getting the water situation worked out and giving what Mother Nature craves most, rainwater, which we don't have a lot of here in California, I am able to produce better fruits and better crops. Well, these are my blueberries. I got two. One is a pollinator for the other one. I got varieties that do a little bit better in zone 9 and 10. My soil pH is a little alkaline. Blueberries tend to need alkaline soil, so I've been kind of cheating them by throwing in soil acidifier around the base of the roots, because it's pretty marginal. I'm under a pretty good sized ficus tree with a lot of organic matter that falls down. And that over there, by the way, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it, is a Blenheim apricot. I have two of these. And then over there, I have a plum of some type of variety. And they produce hundreds of fruits. They're pretty easy to care for. They do need a lot of water, but they're not too bad. Over here, I got some tomatoes. They're kind of looking a little raggedy. I haven't really done much with them. I kind of just planted them and see what would happen. This is a south-facing part of my property. To be honest with you, this is beat down sun in the middle of the summer. You know, hot, dry days, 95 degrees. I didn't water it a whole lot. I don't have the irrigation optimized here. And they're a little beat up, but there's still some fruit. Just shows you how forgiving tomato plants are. And this is my blackberry. It got a little scorched from the sun, but it too is doing just fine. And I have tomatoes down in there, and strawberries. There's my strawberry plants down there. They're kind of a little beat up from the summer sun, but now that it's cooling off and down in the days are now into the 70s, that things are starting to perk up a little bit. Hopefully my blackberry bramble will turn into a great big bush that will produce blackberries. I mean, it looks a little burnt up right now from the summer, but it seems to be hanging in there. And again, watering it with reverse osmosis water greatly helps. Tricks the plant into thinking it's getting rain. And so over here, I have a Mexican lime tree, and this thing survived down 25 degrees, no problem this winter, and produces hundreds of limes, if not close to thousands. I don't know. It's insane amount how much fruit a lime tree can produce. It literally broke a branch with limes. It's just like peaches and plums tend to do the same thing. And this is my tomatoes in pot. Let's see if I can sharpen it up a little for you guys. I just kind of put it in a pot, and again, it kind of got beat up from that 118 degrees, but it's coming back. I'm doing pretty good. This over here is my almond tree, and the leaves are starting to change here. This is an apricot tree over here. Pretty sure that's what that is. And this is the pomegranate. And down here, there's a couple leftover pomegranates. A little bit of sunburn on them. These are the last couple I didn't pick. I picked hundreds off this tree this year. And this is my cherry trees. Right here. I wasn't sure how well they were gonna do. They have flowered, and this one's a little tiny guy. This one over here is unbelievable. This thing is 14 feet tall in 1 year, and it was a 4-foot tall stick when I got it. So it's grown 10 feet in a single growing season. I have done no fertilizing of any kind. All I did was install that sprinkler, and that waters the plum that was already here, which I believe was a tree that was chopped down and sprouted into a multi-branching plum. And then this was my cherry tree, and they are able to cross-pollinate. I will say with cherry trees, you're definitely going to want to put a net around them, or the birds are going to get to them. So that's something to keep in mind for. But yeah, guys, it's actually pretty cool. It's really fun. If you guys have a little piece of paradise, you should grow in your own stuff. Even if you live in the desert, wherever, you find something. You know, if there's a will, there's a way. You guys can figure it out. And I know you guys all have the ability to do this stuff. I'm not this magical gardener. This is just letting nature do its magic. And it's working. So this is the mandarin that I have. And it's about a 3-year-old tree. It came with my house. And it's put on tremendous growth with salt-free water. And the mandarins are just about to come ripe pretty soon. And these are delicious. Mandarins are pretty small. I don't think it's really going to get a whole lot bigger. You can grow mandarins in whiskey barrels and bring them in for the winter. As long as they have a good source of light or a grow light, they'll do fine. I will say though, potted plants definitely need a lot more care than stuff out in the garden. I've learned a lot about conditioning for your garden. Like I've learned about soil types and stuff like that, and I have a kind of a sandy clay loam mix, which I guess apparently is really just optimum soil, which I didn't know. If anything, this stuff seems like it's concrete, but yeah, it's really beautiful. It's been really fun. I've actually watched these plants perk up a lot. I believe the previous owners, they were really big into chemicals, and there wasn't even a single weed on the property. And I just wondered if they just walked around the whole property spraying Roundup or something. Who knows? So this is a western redbud. This insignificant, kind of beat up looking tiny little tree. This is a nitrogen fixing plant. So if you plant these near some of your nitrogen hungry crops, they, in the right situations, can grow to kind of self-fertilize other plants. There's a whole list of nitrogen fixing plants I'll attach in the link at the end of this video that can really help your other plants. They're like your buddies to help fertilize avocado trees. Obviously this plant is so tiny and insignificant it can't possibly fertilize these avocados, but I've done nothing to fertilize these avocados. Nothing at all this year, and I just leave the mulch on the ground that falls from the trees, and it will rot and decay and eventually re-fertilize the trees. And so everything's looking really good back in here. It's absolutely beautiful. It's been a lot of fun. Alright guys, so this is my weedy garden bed. But as you can see, tomato plants are unbelievable. Again, watering them with reverse osmosis water. So basically salt-free rainwater. Keeps the plants from drying out as much. They last longer between waterings. And even though we're going into winter here, they still look pretty good. We still have tomatoes on them. And I'm not an experienced gardener by any means. And I have my onions over there growing in all that weedy mess. And I figure when I chop all this stuff down when it freezes, you can leave it as mulch for the next year. And it will become the gift that keeps on giving. There's still eggplant there. And I even have some strawberries in there. I have some strawberry plants in there. I'm not getting any fruit, but they're in there. And yeah, guys, I mean, I'm doing it. So can you. You know, I'm not the gardening wizard. I'm just someone trying to figure out how to do this stuff. You know, and become more connected with nature. This is the best way to do it. You just get out there and plant some seeds. It can seem a little intimidating. You go, oh, I don't know if I'm doing it right, or will my crops succeed, or will my crops fail? And well, if your soil is good, if you have good, neutral, or slightly acidic soil, most of the time your plants will do very good. And that's pretty much it. And watering with really good water. Rainwater, you can rainwater harvest. A lot of guys will rainwater harvest. You can do that. A lot of guys and gals. That's one way to do it. And you get really good results. And I haven't really done any serious pruning or anything. I haven't done a professional gardening. But hey, you know what? It's fun, right? You learn something new. All this stuff was just little seeds just last year. And there's my rosemary. And that was just a teeny tiny little plant. And you're probably wondering what this ugly black fence I have around it is to keep my gophers out. Keep the gophers from just munching everything. And underneath it I have an underlayment. And the underlayment keeps the ground squirrels from burrowing underneath it and stealing everything. So yeah, this garden's kind of getting towards the end of the season. So there's a lot of weeds. And there's another mulberry tree. That mulberry tree is literally sprouted in the garden bed. And I did transplant it. Hopefully it'll make it. But yeah, guys, if I can do it, so can you. So I encourage all of you to start gardening, whether that be indoors, outdoors in the spring, depending on where you live. If you live in hot places like in the desert or California, take advantage of this climate. Take advantage of what Mother Nature can offer you. So yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in and taking a look at the property and what I've been doing. So catch you on the flip side. Peace.